Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And last night we got the content preview for the next incoming meta. There is no live stream, otherwise I'd be doing a live stream coverage video right now. But we do have the new Elmsia and Masayuki coming soon. And this morning at 4, we got their skill previews. So, unfortunately, it's all in Japanese. They did not post English versions, so we are going to have to use the power of Google. So, there is room for error, I guess, is how we'll put that. But here we have Protector Elmsia, and she is looking pretty good, and she is just kind of the power creep of Warriors Mai and Shuna, but in a different format. So, she is leading the Scourge Wielder meta, deals extra damage to both light or dark enemies by 120% when she's fully rocked and duped up, and then increases the attack and defense power of physical allies by 25%. That's pretty standard right there. And then, like all burst slash speed protectors, for the next 4 turns, you get extra 30 skill points. So turn 2, 3, 4, and 5, you just get 30 skill points for free. That is the exact same as Warriors Mai and Shuna, except the category which is getting the buff. Her actual skill is pretty much Shuna, but with some interesting changes. Because if we take a look at Shuna herself, let's go protection, let's go Shuna. She is converting all orbs to oranges and then 2 oranges to rainbow, puts the dread mechanic on, and then lowers physical damage resistance by 100%. Okay. Elmisia is converting all orbs into oranges and then 2 oranges to rainbow. So the exact same thing. And then her second part of the skill, where Shuna had the dread mechanic, Elmisia is a skill reset by 20 points. So she is a 1 level skill reset unit on a burst protector, which is not been done before. So not only is she going to be a speed character, she's going to lower the skill cap of all characters by 1 level. So every time you use a skill, it goes up by 20 points. She's going to reset that back down by 20 points. It's not a full reset like Divine General Elmisia or Masayuki, but lowering the skills of anything when you're running oranges with 2 rainbows with probably Blanc on it, which are buffed up by 70%, means that you have sometimes within a turn a double reset. And that's going to be pretty good for a speed protector. So that'll be interesting to play around with, not only just for beatdown battle, but for Valor Cup and other things. And then the final part of her skill is increases the physical attack damage of all allies, including the rear guard, by 150% for 2 turns. So 150% physical damage increase, whereas Shuna was doing physical attack down by 100%. And this is a multiplicative debuff, and this is going to be a multiplicative buff by 150. So this is going to do a butt ton of damage for physical allies. Now, it does overlap with characters who are already doing the physical damage buff, like Warrior's Mind Blanc, like Tournament Stalwart Lumi, because Lumi does have that ability on her. It's not 150%, but she does have it technically, because she's getting 100% right here. So, she is the buffed version of Warrior's Mind Shuna. I don't know if I would consider her power creep on Shuna. We'll have to see how useful the skill reset is on this team and other teams, but Shuna being more centered around debuffs and enhancing them is a very different way of playing the game versus just a straight up buff like this. It is good that this 150 does last for 2 turns, so you can really bank on it. You don't have to cycle and use Elmisia every single turn to get this. But 150% is good, and that can be enhanced by other effects if you can use them. Which who's the only I think only magic characters have Drago. And then Ice with the aerial skill, that's she's magic as well. Okay. So that is Elmsia. Now we move on to Battle Unit Masayuki, and he is on the new Scourge Wielder, Dungeon Crawler, Tournament Stalwart, and the Adventurer force. And his skills. This is a bit interesting. We'll have to wait and see how this actually works in game. But his first skill, 15 skill cost, inflicts the chaos effect on all enemies for 2 turns, which inflicts 12.5% additional damage. So this is like extra damage at the end of the turn or something, because the next line is additional damage is dealt based on the amount of damage dealt by light or dark attacks on the target. So it is just extra damage at the end. Follow-up damage, I guess, is what you could call it. And this is stackable, so 12.5%, and then it goes up based on how much damage you actually do as a light or dark character on them. And then this final part down here adds light and dark elements to all allies, including the rear guard, for 1 turn. So this means that when you use this skill, not only are you going to do 12.5% damage based on your light and dark attacks, you're going to make everyone act like a light or dark character. And it's unrestricted. It doesn't say specific allies or certain forces. It's just adds light or dark element to everybody. So this is different-ish than the Tails Shion that we got, which only converted a few characters into a certain other element. Where did you go? There you are. There you are. All right. So applies fire, water, wind, and earth attributes to world, fantasy, or spirit master. So specifically, these 2 forces got these 4 elements, and sometimes it just straight up doesn't work depending on the stage. But this new Masayuki is just going to do light and dark for everybody. Second skill, 55 points. Bit interesting, because it makes orange orbs AoE orbs for 3 turns. Just straight up. So, not only do you now have an AoE attack on your normal orbs for 3 turns, you're going to make everyone light and dark, which means that you're going to add to this 12.5% of chaos damage at the end of the turn because everyone is light and dark, and it's going to go up because you're hitting everybody as an AoE, so everybody's going to get hit by this instant damage kind of thing, or whatever we want to call it when we start seeing it. And then increases the light and dark attack power of all allies by 120% for 3 turns. 3 turns. So this is very close to what Divine General Raphael's second skill, or first skill is, because that is a 90-point skill, and you get 120% attack for space or dark allies, but only for 1 turn, and it costs 90 points. So, almost a full year later, we are getting the power-crept version of that skill, because not only is it 120% the same, but instead of 1 turn, it's 3 turns, and instead of just being light and dark, it's light and dark and an AoE on orange orbs. So this is a huge damage buff, and there are tons of light and dark characters in this game. It is the 2 most represented elements in the game, besides space. So we have a lot of dark and light allies. New Year's Rimuru, Fern, Freerin, Schemer Lumi, Bell, not a damaging character, but there are so many dark. I mean, you want to give Warrior's Mind Blanc a 120% dark attack for 3 turns? Like, that's hilarious. Or Gabwa, that's going to be pretty good right there. So, Masayuki, looking fairly solid. I don't know how efficient this whole gimmick skill is going to be, but because he applies it to everybody, it's going to be generic. So, we just have to see how actually efficient it is. and then his alt is 370%, 375% normal, and then that's when he's totally maxed out and rocked. And he is a damage character, so he is not doing weakness strike. He is a DPS unit, so he's just gonna do. Oh wait, no, yeah, he is. Sorry, he is double damage on his alt, on his EX alt because he's AOE. So Masayuki looking interesting and a very, very cheap, solid buff for dark and light characters. And then we finally move on to the free-to-play battle unit Kagalli, who is on the Scourge Wielder, Antagonist, and Schemer, along with the flashback free-to-play force. Her skills are interesting, not shocking, but interesting. So her first skill, 15 points, converts 3 alts into oranges. So that is the skill we saw from the data mine. Let me pull it over really fast. Here it is. So that is this skill right here, which previously when I saw this during the data mine video, I was like, this should probably go on Masayuki because it's premium only. I mean, yeah. Oh. Okay, my cat just threw up. Hold on. All right, sorry, had to clean that up. But I was saying that this skill is normally reserved for premium characters because it's an unrestricted alt swap to 3 oranges. But we're gonna get that for 15 points now. And then we are going to, on her second skill for 30 points, we're going to change 3 orbs of the Scourge Wielder characters to orange orbs. So that is a bit limited and restricted, but the first skill being a triple alt swapped orange, I mean, you can put that on any orange team because it's, again, unrestricted. But she's not giving any damage kind of buff. She's not giving any support apart from converting, which you can just do away with. Like, she is, I don't think is going to be absolutely a necessary character, especially if this is not a debuff centric team where the characters have to be up front. You can hold on to a lot of things like the physical damage and the light and dark attack and all that. So probably going to be a very easily replaceable character. She also gives extra skill points on the alt swap and extra protection gauge on the convert, 20%, 20%. So I mean, that is nice. And then her alt is a single target for 70% dark physical, and then counter power by 10% for 2 turns, which is useless. So, overall, I mean, Elmsia is probably going to be really, really good. I mean, just as the buffing version of Shuna with the reset, like this is going to go pretty hard. And then not Bell, Masayuki. This is essentially burn damage, if we want to look at it that way. So let's look at old Fire Violet. What they used to do is additional damage afflicted at the end of the turn based on the number or amount of fire damage you deal to them. So it is just going to go up and up and up. This is 20% burn damage, whereas the new Masayuki is doing 12.5%. But because Masayuki's applying it to everybody, and it's not just individual burn stacks like this, it's gonna work pretty well. So we will have to do some science on this skill to see how efficient it really is. But 55 points for 120% light and dark attack is pretty good. Not even counting the multi-hit gimmick on orange orbs, which this is an orange team. So, I mean, you could put this Masayuki on Warrior's Mind and he'd still be great, because he's still going to buff the dark characters there. They're going to get the AoEs on the oranges. So, I mean, if you have Shuna, you probably don't need her. But since we are going buff heavy, it does make me think that this incoming beatdown battle is going to not allow you to debuff. Like, that's the only real way I could see this beatdown battle not being a joke for people who have Warrior's Mind, is that if the enemy Kagalli and whoever else she's with just has the debuff swap or something, just like Summer Memories did or Tournament Stalwart did. So maybe it won't, and they're just gonna be really extra nice. And if you have Warrior's Mind, you can just blow through it like normal. But that's what I'm expecting. So let me know what you guys think about these new characters. Again, I think Elmsia is gonna be really good. I think Masayuki is gonna be fairly solid, and I don't really care about this Kagalli, honestly. But they are coming out in exactly 12 hours. Like in 3 minutes and 12 hours from now, they will be out and we will be summoning for them. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. But that's it from me. Take it easy, and I will see you all in 12 hours.